All right, folks, it is Tuesday. I'm tired, but I'm here. Fresh off the plane from Sacramento. Much love to Sacramento Oak Park Guild. It went down last night, y'all, and I'm back here today making it happen. But in the meantime, from the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks, from Eve After Dark to concerts in the park, you're live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop. This is how we do it every Tuesday. Me and the Dusty One, Dusty Vision, in the dugout, ready to get live, y'all. Here we go. Wow.
What up, Lance?
Man, one of them days, Doc. One of them days. How you feeling?
Can't complain, man, other than dealing with this bipolar weather. 85 degrees one day, rain in the next. I'm trying to figure what I'm gonna wear.
I got off the plane at LAX, and it was pouring down. I called my boy. I said, hey, man, you might come pick me up at the train station. It's going to look like it might be a little wet out there. I get off the plane, walk out front. It's dry as a bone. I'm like, it was raining on the tarmac, but the front of the airport was dry. Like, what the hell y'all doing over here? Anyway, I hear what you're saying, Doc. It ain't consistent, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, we have a great show tonight. Make sure everybody hits that like button before they get nice and comfortable. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 32-year anniversary of Bangin on Wax. It was released on March 9th, 1993. Can't believe it's already been that long, but we have a special guest coming on later. Lil Leak, he was one of the rappers on Piru, arguably the biggest song on the project. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, a little bit about his life, what he has coming up next. But before we jump into that, Lonzo, and bring him on in about 6:15, let's talk about Sacramento for a bit, man. How'd everything go?
It was a great show, man. My boy Jay King from Club Dufo hosted the event. Shout out to Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson, I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, former Sacramento Kings, former mayor of Sacramento. He has a redevelopment project down there. Consists of a theater, bookstore, apartment building, barbershop, all kind of stuff. And one of the venues is the Oak Park Guild. And that's where we had our event last night. Crowd was okay, but they were really into it. That was the part that I appreciate. When people take time to listen to what I'm saying and listen to the documentary and listen to what other people are saying as well, and they got a lot of the stuff that we talk about in the documentary. You know, the documentary, you know, sometimes I can be a little clown and a little clownish, I should say. And folks, I heard them laughing and, you know, the whole 9 yards made me feel good. They was appreciating the content.
That's dope, man. That's not your first time up in Sacramento, right? You've been up there a few times.
Oh yeah, you know, lately, man, I've been going to Sacramento almost once a year, sometimes twice a year. This is my first time this year. They asked me to come back in October, so I might be going back again this year. I got a lot of relationships in Sacramento. My boy, like I said, Jay King is a good friend of mine. He also is a chamber president. The Black Chamber of Commerce, the Southern Black Chamber, something like that. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, he's also a Chamber of Commerce president, and he gave me some game on that situation. And he still tours, still does his shows, and you know, we've been friends for 30 years, dude, 35 years.
Relationships are important, man. Do you have any old Sacramento stories back in the day? Did you guys at World Class Record Crew ever perform up there?
Hell yeah, our first gig was in Sacramento, dude. Our first gig we got outside of LA was Sacramento, dude. Yep, club called the Vortex. And if I'm not mistaken, the video, if you see a video of us performing, that wouldn't be it. That wouldn't be it. I'm sorry, it wouldn't be it. Because we only had one record. All we had was we had Juice and Surgery. So Juice got us up there. Surgery was okay, but Juice got us the gig. And I had a buddy of mine named Fat Fat. Fat Fat is he's one of them cats, little kid, do all kind of tricks. And we rented a U-Haul. We took a whole bunch of cats up there. All I had was a van. I had to rent a U-Haul because the van story with the guy, the Korean dude, the one I was whooping his ass, and it was a black belt. My van wasn't ready, so I had to rent a U-Haul, okay, to carry all the equipment and everybody up to Sacramento. And my boy Fat Fat, he was smart enough to climb under the U-Haul and disconnect the odometer, so we didn't have to pay no damn mileage. Yeah, that was a good night. That was a good day. Yeah, we
Nice.
did some shit back in the day.
That's dope.
Yes, sir.
We got
Yeah.
about 10 minutes till we bring our special guest on, Lil Leak from Bangin on Wax, Piru
Right.
Love. And let's get to a couple questions from last week that we weren't able to jump into.
Go for it.
And there's some couple good ones, actually. Art Chavez wants to know, Lonzo, what records did Macola owe you? We talked about the whole baseball bat thing, compared it to the Straight Outta Compton scene with Ice Cube. But he wants to know what record specifically did they owe you?
He owed me for Turn Off the Lights. Turn Off the Lights is a huge record. And Don, you got to remember this. We're talking about the late 80s. There was no QuickBooks yet. There was no real programs. The computers were around, but programs were still being developed. And Don pressed a lot of Turn Off the Lights. And like I said, I went there on a Tuesday. He got a whole damn near a warehouse full of shit. Come back Wednesday, most of that shit is gone. And I'm like, oh no, dude, you ain't gonna tell me that you chopped up. Because a lot of times they will recycle the records. You ain't chopped up no 5 pallets of records that fast. And that's when I found out they were someplace else. The record was Turn Off the Lights.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Boom. Gary's Garage. He says one of his favorite stories is of Lonzo and Dre with the Mexicans fixing their muffler. We haven't talked about that one in a while. It's probably been over a year now. Can you remind everybody about that story who doesn't remember that one?
Me and Dre rolled together a lot back in the day. But Dre was the worst company when you came to driving. He always fell asleep in the car. Before I leave my driveway, Dre is asleep, okay? This particular day, we're coming from downtown LA, and I'm driving my BMW 635, and the freeway is always tore up coming. It's in the evening time. Freeway's always messed up. So I'm coming down, I think it's like San Pedro or something like that. I'm stopped at the light, and all of a sudden, back in my car, bam! Car full of Mexicans hit my car. It must have been 9 in a Pinto. I ain't bullshitting. Must have been 9 in a Pinto. I'm like, God damn! I'm mad. I'm pissed off. And on the back of a BMW, they got the muffler kind of hangs suspended by these 2 big giant ass rubber bands, big thick ass rubber bands. You really can't pull them with your hand, but that's what they are, made out of rubber. So when they hit my bumper, they broke the rubber bands. Now my bumper is dragging the ground. I get out talking 2 tons of shit. Okay, I'm mad. Oh man, it's crazy. I'm talking so crazy. I'm so pissed off. I don't see the cholos sitting on the curb looking at me the whole damn time. And they was like, you can tell I done said some fucked up shit. And hey man, can I get a coat hanger or something? Now they standing in front of a cleaners. Nah, Holmes, we ain't got no coat hangers. Man, okay, cool, whatever. Dre gets out the car wearing a Wrecking Crew jacket. Hey, Holmes, where's that jacket from? Dr. Dre. Oh, shit, man, everything changed. Everything changed immediately. They went inside, they grabbed me some coat hangers. They climbed under the car, tied my shit back together again, got it off the ground. Man, wasn't no cameras or nothing back then. We found a couple of arms and shit, man, and got the fuck home. No bullshit. That's a true story. I ain't got a lot to kick it. That's a good one, man. I had more coat hangers than I could ever need. They climbed under the car in them white t-shirts and tied that shit together for us, got us rolling. No bullshit.
That's a great story. If you guys have any other of your favorite Lonzo stories, post them in the comment. We don't get to them today. We'll get to them in future episodes for sure. But that was a good one. The STEM Radio says, "Hey Lonzo, so what's your big quote? Isn't it you're either at the table or you're on the menu? Is that how it goes?" I was going to use it a few minutes ago in an email to someone, and I had a brain fart. Is that it?
No, that's it, Doc. That's it. Either you at the table or you on the menu. And that's not mine. I heard somebody else told me that, and I borrowed it from him. It's not a Lonzo original, but I just loved it so much I use it a lot. Either you at the table or you on the menu. Dude, that's real. That's life, dude. Right now, we all on the menu. Ain't nobody at the table but the billionaires.
Damn.
We all on the table. Huh?
The cold reality, man.
Everybody got an apple up their ass. Everybody got an apple in their mouth.
Oh man. DJ Ruthless Ken says there was a source article in October 1994 above the law said that Easy was shot 6 times point blank in the early 80s. Wondering if there's any knowledge of that. I've heard that before myself, but
I ain't never heard that before.
Right?
He might be shot at. I ain't never recall Easy getting shot. Easy, I don't recall Easy getting shot.
Huh.
Dre got shot. He got shot in the leg. I don't know nothing about Easy ever getting shot.
Okay.
I have nope.
You know what?
Speaking
of,
go ahead.
Oh, actually, Rad 7 wants to. Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna look that up, and we'll talk more about that in the future because I've heard that myself. But Rad 7 says a question. Alonzo, go ahead. I'm sorry. We have a. Go. You go. All right. Do you remember Doug Young from back in the day who did promo?
Yeah. No, Doug very well. What's up with it? What's the question?
I don't know. Rad 7 wanted to know. He just wanted to know if you knew Doug Young. Who was that?
Doug Young was the promo guy for everybody. He was pastor, did all the radio stuff, and he loved working records. That was his thing. He would take him out to radio stations, one stops, whatever the case may be. He did a lot of work for everybody. Doug worked for everybody. Then he got with Ruthless, and he got kind of had him on exclusive for a while. He worked with Ruthless for a while. Then he worked with Death Row for a while. Doug is one of them cats that everybody know Doug. If you was in the record industry, Doug was the guy to talk to about getting your record in different places. Okay, Doug was also got me in that documentary, Welcome to Death Row. He lied to me, motherfucker. He lied to me. Doug know everybody. Doug called him, hey, Lonzo, they doing a documentary on West Coast hip hop. They want you to be in it. Okay, cool, whatever, man. Now, this is one of my first documentaries. I didn't know they paid you for sitting down talking to people about documentaries. I ain't asked no money or nothing. I just did the documentary thinking on West Coast hip hop, and you better not try and do it without me. A few months later, I get a call from a mutual friend, Edna Sims, who is a PR lady. She's doing PR for this documentary. She called me, Lonzo, are you coming to the documentary screening? I said, which one? She says, Welcome to Death Row. I said, probably not. She says, why not? I said, I don't know. Why would I want to go? She said, you're in it. It's bullshit. They didn't change the name from History of West Coast Hip Hop to Welcome to Death Row. First person you see in the documentary is my black ass. And that's the line. That's the one where I say Devil got a receipt for his ass talking about Dre, and Suge show up right behind it. As soon as I say it, here comes Suge right behind it. So I ain't mad at him, but you sure could have got me caught up, dude.
It's amazing how documentaries could do that, Lonzo, and it's probably not the first time you've experienced. I experienced that in the Yella documentary when I was watching it. At the beginning, you say something like phenomenal or something like that, but they made it like it was in reference to something else when later on in the interview, you were talking about something totally different. Yeah. So it's kind of scary how documentaries can twist up your words.
Well, it's not just documentary, it's editing in general. It's editing in general. Digital editing has allowed people to just manufacture their own version of the truth. So if you don't say anything that is controversial, they'll make sure that it looks like it does. They'll take your words and put somebody else's face on top of them, or they're blended so well that you'll be saying something, and all of a sudden it'll look like it's somebody else's mouth, depending on what the story is. So you have to be very careful about who you do documentaries with, because they can get very unscrupulous. And that's actually how D and Dre got into it, through editing. According to D, the N.W.A. documentary was shot first, and then they played it for Cube, and then Cube got picked because Cube wasn't tripping. They started to spit out ice cubes and stomp on ice cubes. That's when he came back and said something slick, and that made them look. Then he said something. He said something real. I forgot what he said on You're on TV Raps, but Pump It Up, and that pissed off Dre. And next thing you know, you got a historical bombshell.
Damn. Strictly Funk wants to know how many Rhodium tape mixes did Dr. Dre do? And can you tell us how big Rhodium tapes were on the street back then?
First of all, couldn't tell you. That's a Tony A. That's a Tony A. question. Tony A. could probably give you a better idea than I could. Okay, he was there. The Rhodium swap meet when I initially started off making the Z-Rocks and the Scratch Masters and the house parties, blah, 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 but they could only be played on turntables. The Rhodium, Steve Yano started making the cassettes. That gave you actually to put it in your car. It changed the game. It changed the game completely. And because you can dub them right there, you can make them. It was like, back in the day, they had cassette duplicators that you can buy. Mike Frankie calling it right now. You can buy and duplicate.
Okay.
Churches do it all the time. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Big Mike. Mr. Frankie. What's up with you, Doc? How you feeling?
Make sure you put him on the speaker if we're going to have him on, Lance.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, Mike. Hi. Hey, what's up? I got to put you on I'll get you on my Bluetooth right quick. You're not on Bluetooth. Hold on there. All right. How you feeling, Doc? You're on speakerphone right now.
Dude, I guess.
All right, good. There you go. Man, I'm on the podcast talking to my boy Dusty Vision as always. And he reminded me that today is like 35 years of Bangin on Wax. And he has another brother coming on shortly. What's his name, Dusty?
Lil Leak from Piru Love. Red Rum's brother.
Yeah, so
we can't hear Mike, Lance.
Hold on. Can't help. Let me go. Let me check something right quick. Let me check something. Hold on. Yeah, that's why you
I have my mixer set up. If you want to text me his number, I can pull him up on my side if you need to.
Hold on. I think I know why you can get there. Hold on 1 second. Let me fix it. All right. What about now? Mike, say something.
What's good?
You got him?
Hello?
There we go.
Okay, we good. Yeah. So Mike, we was just talking about Dusty was talking about what 35 you say, Dusty, on Bangin on Wax?
32.
32.
Yeah,
What up, Mike? How you doing, brother?
Yeah.
I'm good, man. How are you? How you guys doing?
Man, can't complain, man. Thank you for your contribution.
Oh, I mean, it was just an idea out of Tweety Bird's head, man. And Tweet doesn't get enough credit for that, but that whole concept was Tweety Bird's concept. Tweety Bird Loco from Kelly Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was his
R.I.P. to him.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Tweet. But yeah, we were doing Tweet's record. In the middle of doing Tweet's record, it happened very innocently, actually. It wasn't like a big plan or anything like that at first. We were wrapping up Tweet Bird's record. And Tweet said, you know what? And he just looked talking to me and Ronnie. And he said, you know what? We should do a Bangin on Wax record. That's exactly what he said. Those were his exact words. He said, we should do a Bangin on Wax record, man. And we'll get all the brothers that we know from the streets to tell their stories. Right? And I was all for it. But Ronnie, who actually was paying for the record, Ronnie really wanted it. See, Ronnie I don't know if Ronnie was really from the streets like that, because he didn't understand the impact that record would have on the youth. It was really an adult record, but you know how that goes. Fell into the hands of children. And when it fell into the hands of children, the children were the ones that took it to the next level of violence. When I started, before we did the Bangin on Wax records, I would travel to different states, never met any real Crips, any real Bloods like that. After we did that record, man, everywhere I went, there started to be chapters of Bloods and chapters of Crips. And I wanted the approach of the record to be more cautionary. And Ronnie was like, no, man, I want him to bang out because you don't want the world to see that it's all fun and woo, woo, woo. But see, here's what Ronnie didn't understand. It wasn't about fun because he wasn't from the streets. And even though we know it was all good and it was a gesture of love, the people who never experienced it took it for its face value. And that's why I think it became so influential. And to this day, we still seeing the impact of that record and what it's done, besides the fact of the high incarceration of young black men who were exposed to other black men who had been in the streets, represent gang sets and things of that nature. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The record was impactful to the point, first of all, nobody thought that record would take the legs that it did. Nobody did, right? When we started doing the record, because we did that Leon Haywood's joint. When we started doing the record, Leon came in, him and a brother named Duffy, who was an independent record promoter.
Duffy Hooks.
Yeah, Duffy was my boy. I've been knowing Duffy since Maverick Splash, right?
Yep.
Duffy and Leon came in the control room and told Ronnie, bro, do not give this record to Russ Reagan. And because Leon was one of those independent cats, he didn't trust nobody. And with good reason, right? But he said, man, they're going to steal that record from him. They're going to take the record. But Ronnie wanted to be in bed with, you know, another culture who didn't understand the record and, you know, and didn't care about the record or the people that participated in the record. That's why nobody made no money from the record, right? Tweet didn't make no money from the record. All the participants in the record, half of them ended up in jail, and the other half ended up dead. So, you know, I love the record and I love what we attempted to do, but I carry a burden of guilt for the record as well. Even though I only recorded the record or whatever the case may be, I was still a part of it. But that record took legs, man, and started running up the charts. It was the #1 requested record on the box.
Mm.
They ended up going to do Phil Donahue because of that record. They wanted me to go. I was like, no, I don't want to go. I want to do that, right? But it was that record jumped off a few careers because that record had, even though predominantly it was actual gang members, there are a few cats on there that weren't really gang members, but were talented. And Ronnie wanted them to be on the record, so he gave them identities as a Crip or as a Blood, and eventually they became members because of association and affiliation, which is usually how it goes anyway.
Genuine Giraffe, Domino, talking.
Domino wasn't a real gang member in the beginning. My girl Nene X, she was from Dayton. She didn't, but she fell in with the Blood.
AKA Bloody Mary, R.I.P.
Yeah, Bloody Mary, right. I don't think my girl C-Note, I don't think she was a gang member. She may have been from the city and may be affiliated, but I don't think she was out on the streets banging the line like that. You know what I'm saying? But the record just started taking legs, and people were talking about the streets. People like N.W.A. and stuff were talking about street life, but they weren't talking about gang banging. They were talking about gangster shit, but they weren't talking about real pound of pavement, set tripping, gang banging. They weren't doing that. We was the first record to do that. That was me, DJ Battlecat, Jay Shanklin, rest in peace, Geek and Noise, Geek is dead now, rest in peace, Box, Cluso, Big Cluso, rest in peace. There was quite a few hands in the record in terms of production, but I had no idea that record would stand a duration of time, and not only stand a duration of time, still be held in such high esteem. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. One thing about that record that to this day I'm really grateful for. When we made that record, and people tried to do records after that, that, you know, about the same kind of thing. Like they tried to do the Rep Your Set record, right? Well, the Rep Your Set record wasn't as successful as the original Bangin' on Wax record, I think for one reason. And that is, when we did the Bangin' on Wax record, that was during the times of the Peace Street. So the Bloods and Crips were sitting down in the same room, writing, exchanging ideas, and creating together and collaborating together. That Rep Your Set record wasn't like that. I didn't engineer that record. My friend Bob Horn did. Bob Horn worked on that record. And Bob was like, man, it was some days, you know, like I never felt the need to have a pistol in the session. And I had one drawn on me in the session. But, you know, Bob was like, man, I was carrying my little gun with me. You know, Bob is a white cat, you know. He was like, you couldn't have certain, like if we was doing Town Mafia, you couldn't have the Damus there on the same day, or I'm just using that as an example, but you know, it was like they couldn't create together is the point I'm trying to make, right? But it wasn't like that on the initial record, right? They all sat down at the table, we all were together, and the really cool thing about that record was everybody had a great sense of humor in those sessions. You know what I mean? I mean, it would be 20 or 30 people in the room, and you know, when you get a bunch of young black cats together, it's gonna be some jokes. And we had these classic bagging sessions that were hilarious. You couldn't do that in today's climate, you know, because you know cats are quick to trigger. And I mean, Big Stretch, I mean, a Little Stretch pulled a pistol on me, you know, for Bounty Hunters. He pulled a pistol on me because we got to having jokes, and, you know, I told him what I felt about his rhyming skills, and he pulled a pistol on me, you know, and I laughed at that. And because he was like, man, I'll kick your door in, and whoop, 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 whoop. And I said, bro, I can't even get you to give me a ride home. Come on, man, knock that off. I asked you for a ride home. You ask me where I live, you're like, shit, I ain't going over there. But I'm just saying, there was never that threat like it was from what I understood, what's been told to me on the Rep Your Set records. And I think that's what separated the two. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that record also, doing that record kind of stigmatized me personally, because I lost some high profile clients behind that record, because it was like, oh, Mike is really affiliated with gang bang ass dudes, and we don't want that problem on our sessions. We don't know if he might set us up. Blah, blah. That became that kind of burden, that kind of stigmatization. You know what I mean? But if I had to do it all again, I would. But I asked Ronnie when we did the very first record, I can't remember what it was, but when we first started recording, it was Neighborhood Joe from Compton. It was OG Sinlope from Compton. It was Big Y from Inglewood Family. And it was Stretch from Bounty Hunt. Right? And they immediately went to banging, like, fuck crap, fuck slime, fuck whoop, whoop, whoop. And I stopped the tape recorder. This is a true story. I stopped the tape recorder. And I looked at Ronnie. I muted the talkback mic. And I looked at Ronnie and I said, is this what we really want, man? I thought we were going to tell, you know, tales of cautionary tales of this is what you don't want to do. But because of Ronnie's lack of connection to the street, he thought that shit was a joke. But what that shit did was impacted a lot of communities across the country. I went to Knoxville, Tennessee, and this is a town of less than 1 million people. At least it was back then. And when I went to Knoxville, Tennessee, I was meeting cats from Piru. I was meeting cats from Hoover. And I was like, did y'all get put on in the pen? You know, because I was like, well, how y'all get put on? How did you get work? Because, you know, a lot of cats get put on in the pen, you know. But I wasn't meeting cats that got put on in the pen. I was meeting cats that got influenced by that record. We started getting fan mail from all over the globe, dude. We was getting fan mail from Amsterdam and Brussels and England saying, I'm down with the Crips, I'm down with the Bloods. And I'm like, but why? Because we weren't articulate enough or weren't conscious enough to say, this ain't the smartest choice to make in your life. We glorify it. You understand the point I'm trying to make here?
Totally, Doc.
You know, at 67 years old, at 67 years old, I can look back and say, we shouldn't have done it in that manner. I'm not saying we shouldn't have done it, but I'm saying we should have approached it differently.
You know,
you feel me?
You know, Mike, when before Bangin on Wax came out, Unknown, my partner in crime, had an idea to do something similar to that called Slanging and Banging.
Right.
And I told him, nigga, I ain't fucking with that. I'm not doing that, dude. Oh, man,
exactly.
We can get paid. No, nigga, we can get shot too.
You get shot too. But see, here's the thing, right? And I don't want to disrespect the dead. I don't ever want to be perceived like that, right? But Ronnie and I had a lot of conversations about that. I said, bro, you're not in the streets. You don't see the impact that this record is having. Tweet did. Tweet did, though. And Tweet came to me and he's like, man, we should have listened to you. I said, I tried to tell you niggas you didn't know what you were getting into when you did that, you know. And then, no disrespect to my man Ronnie Phillips, but he wanted to be in the lap of the white boys. He was like, yo, man, I got Rush Regan. He gonna do this and do that. And guess what? Ain't nobody from that record or their descendants spend a dime of that money.
Mm.
That record sent their kids to college.
Russ Regan. Is he still alive?
Huh?
Is Russ Regan still alive?
I have no idea. I never met the man, and I hope I never, ever do. You know? But he had a very horrible reputation
Yes, he did.
in the business in the beginning.
Yes, he did.
Which is why I didn't understand why Ronnie wanted to be in bed with him. Because he didn't have the most sparkling reputation in the beginning in the first place, right? And Duffy was really the first one outside of us in the control room. Duffy was the first one that went to Leon and was like, do you hear what them niggas is doing down there? And Leon came in, and then Leon and Duffy pulled us to the side and was like, dude, do not give Russ Regan that record. Right? And ultimately he did. Because, you know, everybody thinks the white man's ice is colder. True or false?
Yes, they do.
You know, so, and that's no disrespect to the white man. But that's what happened. And I left after the first record. Actually, me and Battle Cat left in the midst of the first record because Ronnie had started to align himself with the Bloods. He put himself in a position to be extorted by them, right? And so he started showing certain favoritisms. And Battle Cat kind of like, you know, was feeling that. And when Cat snapped on him, Cat left, I left too. You know, and he was mad at me. That's why I don't have a credit on that record. But if you ask anybody that participated in that record, I was there. I was there first. I did Tweety Bird's record.
Who finished it off?
I think it was Stretch actually that pissed Cat off.
No. Who finished the record after you left?
Leonard.
I know him.
Leonard Jackson. Leonard came from the Norman Whitfield camp.
Okay.
Right? Norman Whitfield is a story in itself. But you know, then see, originally Reggie Dozier was Ronnie's engineer.
Okay.
Reggie would do that record when he wasn't doing stuff for Motown and and then Reggie started running facilities, so he didn't really have time to do the record. And I don't know if Reggie referred me or Leon referred me, because I've been making records in that space a long time, right? Which is sad that it's a Korean wig store now, but because we did so many great records in that,
Upstairs
space.
too?
Huh?
Upstairs too?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, upstairs and downstairs. See, the studio was behind the wig store.
Right, right.
Right. Now the wig store got it from Crenshaw to the parking lot. And upstairs.
Okay.
You know, the gear ended up being purchased by a company called Techno Empire.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show you how small the world is. A guy named Welton Geit, who's a bass player, took me there. And when he took me there, I knew the history of that console because that was a one-of-a-kind console. That console was built by Graham Nash, or was commissioned for Graham Nash. I worked for Graham.
Okay.
Nobody had ever seen that console, because by the time Frank Dominio from Sunset Sound finished it, we had already installed another console. So that console went straight from Sunset Sound and Frank Dominio straight into Graham's basement in San Francisco for some years. He ended up auctioning it. Chubba, remember the Sound Labs back in the day in Silver Lake?
Yeah.
The guy who owned Sound Labs actually was a gear broker as well. And he brokered that deal. And that console was one of a kind. It was handmade. It used API components, but it wasn't an API console because it was Dave Jensen transformers in it, the whole nine. That console was wrapped in $40,000 worth of red rosewood alone.
Damn.
Because the console turned, like on the back of the console, turned into like a church bench. I mean, it was funky. We could never use that part of the console because if Leon would have assembled the whole console, nobody would have to walk through the room and get behind it to operate it because it was huge. But yeah, man, those are some times, bro.
All right,
those were some times. We did. It was. I left after the first record. Me and Cat left after the first record. I came back on the fourth record that was never released, and the only person that had those tapes was Tweet, and Tweet is gone. Tweet is gone. You know. But on that last record was the Gangster compilation. One of the last records was called a Gangster compilation. And it's 64 young men who were involved in that record at the time when we were making that record. This was a list of all the people that had been parts of the Bangin on Wax history. And when we did the compilation, half of them cats was dead.
Wow.
And the other half were incarcerated with 25 to life. And nobody made money. Nobody stepped up. Nobody that had made money stepped up to say, what can we do to help these kids' legal fund?
It sounds like the Flaming Project I did. I only know one guy that's still alive that I see. Maybe more, but only one. Everybody else was falling dead before the record came out. Or going to jail. Yeah.
Or going to jail. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Zo, when I came to your studio with them, we was doing XCOM.
Yeah, you know, he died. He just died too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he just died.
I mean, we ain't no spring chickens.
Yeah.
But I just feel that as much as the record was a positive thing to a degree, but we cannot, if we're going to be true and realistic, we cannot deny the damage that it did as well. You know, I mean, just because it's sold doesn't necessarily mean it was healthy or good. I mean, look at the food we're eating.
Right.
I mean, crack sold. Does that mean it was great?
Hey.
You know, so, and that's when the higher agenda came into play that we were just innocent puppets in. Now we're giving the people a guide to incarceration and how to get yourself killed. Right? Now, if you go and catch a case and you even affiliated with any kind of gang, you get a gang enhancement charge.
Yep.
That shit wasn't happening before then. Right?
Yep.
But sometimes good intentions don't always have good results. You know, and eventually, like all good things, they come crashing to the end. It's unfortunate that it ended the way it did, but it was, you know, that end result was inevitable because it wasn't handled properly. That record wasn't a reflection of a peace treaty. Just because Crips and Bloods was on the same record doesn't mean that they were at peace. It just was made as an effort to contribute to the agenda of the peace treaty. But that was, and when you play the record, you don't feel like niggas is at peace, do you? You think about it. We did the record right after the riots. We did the record right after the peace. We was in the midst of doing the record when they had the peace treaty at South Park.
Right.
Right? But you listen to that record, you don't hear them talking, you don't hear them talking about, you hear them talk about slobs and crabs. You don't hear them talking about Bloods and Crips.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna wrap this up for a minute, Doc. Man, thank you for taking the time out to give us a call and give us your version of this thing. That's always
appreciate you, man.
Always good to hear from a triple OG like yourself, baby.
Man, I'm still out here trying to do it, bro. Dude, I just finished the record, shameless plug, but I just finished the record with Jarris Mosey. Right.
Okay.
Google this cat. This cat is amazing. And so I've been doing these lectures at UCLA and stuff, and I've been using his record as a template to show the kids. But it's like back to the old school days with Jarris.
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Good
so
looking
keep
out,
me
Mike.
in the loop,
you got it,
I'm always here.
All right, Doc. Much love.
Nice.
Much love, loved one. Thank
you, brother.
Hey, Doc.
Appreciate you, man.
Mike Frankie, the engineer for the
yeah, man.
Bangin on Wax, folks. That's how we do it here, man. We do it. Let me call this.
That's right. We're gonna call Lil Leak right now. He was most famously in Piru Love, and we're gonna talk to him about his stories being on that famous album and that famous song. Smash that like button if you haven't already, everybody.
Hello.
Lil Leak, Lonzo, how you doing, Doc?
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hanging out, man. I got Dusty on the line here. We're gonna bring you in on the phone call. We just had Mike Frankie on the line for about 35, 40 minutes. Yeah, that's my dude. We go back, man.
All right, that's all good.
Yeah.
All right.
Dusty, talk to him.
Appreciate you joining the show, man. Yeah. Let's talk about your. First of all, thank you for joining the show. Let's talk about your contribution to Bangin on Wax, and let's just take it all the way back. What do you remember about the beginnings of Bangin on Wax?
The beginning, just my brother coming to me and you know, telling me about the project and basically.
Remind everyone who your brother is again. I know, obviously, but they don't. Oh shit! I think we lost him. His brother is Red Rum 781. R.I.P. Such a good dude. We're gonna bring it back on. I think we had some technical difficulties. Got disconnected there, but we're talking about the beginnings of Bangin on Wax. We had Mike Frankie on, who was the engineer for the project. Man, to be a fly on the wall in that studio. Shout out Mike Frankie, and now we have Lil Leak on the line, but we just had disconnection issues, so I'm sure Alonzo's on the other end right now trying to figure it out. But hit that like button if you haven't already. It is just me you guys see, right? All right, you said we lost them. Okay, cool, yeah. So I'm here. Is it just me? Marlon, is it just me? Is it just me? Stem Radio, Lil Leak's best line was where he was talking about going out with chicks that are uglier than a fat man's ass. We'll talk to him about that. Let's see. How to love technology, man. Always wants to mess up. Yeah, everyone says I'm on, but Lonzo's off and Leak is off. So hopefully Lonzo's over there trying to figure it out. If not, I can pull up. Probably call Leak right now on my end. Actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, might as well let you guys know about my channel, Dusty Vision TV. I have a few episodes. Speaking of Bangin on Wax, I have a few interviews that you may be interested in. Lil Leak, obviously, who we are interviewing right now from Piru Love. And he actually introduced me to Lil Hawk, probably one of the top 3 favorite rappers on the whole project, and especially when it comes to obviously Dama Riders. But Lil Hawk, he was just released after doing 27 years behind bars, I do believe. And I was one of his first interviews on the way out. I think it was technically a second. But Lil Hawk, man, you guys remember Lil Hawk, Red Ride? He's definitely putting a lot of stuff out right now. And that reminds me, go to ING Films on YouTube and check out a lot of the stuff that's going on over there. Lil Hawk is smashing on it, man, smashing. And speaking of, let me see if Lonzo's going to call me real quick. Hold on, please. All right. Figure this out. But yeah, so anyway, so Lil Hawk is on my channel. Who else did I interview? I have who else do I have? I have a couple of actually specials that I personally put together. Let's see. Marlon says, "Yo, Dust, have you met Sway? Your shows remind me so much of his show, Street Soldiers." Damn, thank you. That's an honor. Obviously, thank you so much for saying that. But yes, actually, I met Sway through Lonzo. Lonzo was on Sway in the Morning 2 years ago, something like that. And I wrote up there with Lonzo, did some behind the scenes stuff for that. Hit up, let me call Lonzo. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? There we go.
Nature call, baby. Sometimes you can't wait. Can't wait till the show.
I love technology.
I can't wait till the show over. That one call me. That call me kind of loud. Y'all still talking?
All right. Did we
did the call drop?
Nah, man. Lil Leak, you there? Yeah, the call dropped like 5 minutes ago. I've been trying to keep the audience entertained.
Oh, my bad. I caught myself trying to use that time to go handle some business.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's all good. I was keeping him trying to keep him entertained with just me, but we'll get back to Lil Hawk. Probably like, what the heck? Or not Lil Hawk, Lil Leak, my bad.
Lil Leak.
I was talking about
all right, sorry about that, Doc. We had a little drop of the call there. We all good.
Yeah.
Technology, man. I'm sorry about that, dude.
Yes, sir. No problem, y'all.
All right, so let's take it all the way back, man. Let's go back to the beginnings of Bangin on Wax. What do you remember about Bangin on Wax? You were just getting into your brother, and remind everyone who your brother is.
Yeah, so my brother is Red Rum 781, rest in peace. I remember just him coming to me and letting me know about the album and just, telling me that he gonna get me on some songs and he want me to come to the studio. And, I just remember the first day us going to the studio and, having the conversation about what's gonna happen and everything that transpired, and Ronnie just filling us in and telling us what he expected of us. And, pretty much that's about it. And, the excitement of us actually doing a record, being so young. I just remember that feeling,
I got a question for you right quick, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Is there only one?
Obviously, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's only a Red Rum. No, there's not only one Red Rum. It's a lot of Red Rum, but It's only one Red Rum 781.
Okay, because one of you called me from jail all the time. And I had my club in Inglewood. He was supposed to be getting out. I just wondered about with him and I, because he was pretty. He was actually from Anthony, if I'm mistaken. He might have been from Anthony.
No, no, that's two different Red Rums.
Just checking. Do you think?
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
No.
His brother, man, Rev Rum 781. Every time I came across him, I didn't come across him much, but I remember him just dropping jewels and always helping. people around him. That's kind of what I remember about him, and people who know him, and just kind of, you know, being in his presence a couple of times, man. But what did Red Rum 781? How did he approach you and talk to you about this album? He's like, man, we got a Bangin' on Wax, Crips Blood thing. Did he bring it to you like as a peace thing that you guys were going to be dissing each other? What do you remember about that conversation?
Yeah, well, basically, he always was doing his music stuff, so nothing really surprised me with him because he was always grinding his music. So he had a deal before this deal. Yeah, even at 16, he had a deal. So when he told me about this one, I just was like, okay, well, I'm not the type of person to get too excited about things. I don't get excited about celebrities. I don't get excited. You know, I mean, not saying I don't get excited, but that type of stuff, I just be like, well, I'll see it when I believe. I'll believe it when I see it, type of thing. So, you know, I was a little excited, but I'm like, you know, I'll wait till we get there and then let's see how it goes. And so, yeah. So once everything started transpiring, it was cool. And I met Tweety. I've been knowing Tweety for a long time though. He's been knowing me since I was a real youngster. So I've been knowing him because him and my brother was signed to like a label before Bangin' on Wax.
Okay. Piru Love, arguably the artist, the most popular song on that album. I mean, every Crip I knew was bumping Piru Love. it was that popular. You know, you were part of that song. You were on the song in the video. Talk to me about what you remember about that song blowing up, and talk to us about how that song came about.
Well, the song basically came about. My brother had an idea, and we was all trying to do like some slow melodic type of music. Like we was trying to think of like some something that we can get their people's clear attention. They could hear all the words they were saying. We didn't want to go too fast with the music, so we want to try to slow it down so we can give them something that they can feel. So he came up like, we're gonna do Computer Love, and let's flip it and do Piru Love. And so I think it was Jay Stank. I believe my memory, it's been 32 years, so my memory is kind of foggy when it comes to remembering names and people that was in certain positions. But anyway, so I remember they started doing the beat and everything, and then he got the talk box and he started messing around with that. We was like, whoa, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? We was like, wow. Yeah. So, and I just remember Folk Clips, my boy Folk Clips from Compton, from Kelly Park, rest in peace. He just we was trying to find a singer to match the what's his name? What's the Computer Love guy?
Roger.
Mm-hmm. So Roger Troutman, yeah. Rest in peace, Roger Troutman as well. So we was trying to match somebody to get the tune right. And so he came and he was just humming it at first. And we like, man, like, so say that a little louder. And then he started singing. And we was like, you mind? You want to get on the song? And he was like, yeah, a lot of people probably gonna be mad, and like my homie's gonna be mad, but this is a business thing. So, he was like, man, I'll get on it. And basically that's how that pretty much came about. Him just singing the hooks. He didn't know.
Yeah,
he
for anyone who missed that,
what
Crip did the hook on Piru Love.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he really didn't know what to sing. So we were just like, well, hum the words that we say. And so that's why he would just like, at first he would just hum, and then he started humming the words that we were saying, and then it just started coming together. So that's basically how Piru Love came about.
There's
I just pretty much kind of like got blessed on the song because my brother just like, hey, put my brother at the end. And so he was having me say the little rest in peace part. And that's how people started knowing who I was, pretty much.
Rest in peace to the homie Killer Wack, the homie K-Ron.
Yeah, little homie K-Ron and all that. Yeah.
I had no idea who that was when I was 13, but I know every word, and it's just so crazy. This album was so impactful, man. What are your thoughts on this? So we talked to Mike Frankie about this as well. But what are your thoughts on this album? And I know people personally from, let's say, North Carolina specifically, who said when they heard this album, the next day, everyone in their town was Bloods, or everyone in the town was Crips, and gangs just popped up everywhere. What do you think about that aspect of this album literally creating and starting and spreading gangs all over the country?
Well, in my younger days, in my youth, I was proud of it, and I was happy. I thought it was a good thing, you know what I'm saying? But as I got older and I realized what the impact that it did make, and the negativity it brought, and people would come to me telling me, how they would be in the hood and doing certain things. I was in the hood too. I was still active in the streets, but at the same time, I had a conscience, and I didn't want people to believe that that's the way to go. And even though we was glorifying it, it was just that we were so young, and that's what we was into, and that's the life we live. So we just thought that was what we want to talk about. So that's pretty much how that went. So I'm not happy about it, and I don't glorify. I don't appreciate. I mean, not appreciate, but I don't think that it was a good thing. I think it really did more harm than good, because us Black folks, we got to stick together, and that was something that just divided us even more. So that's how I pretty much feel about that.
Yeah. What's next for you, man? I know you just started a YouTube channel. You have a lot going on. Tell us about what you have going on right now.
Yeah, so pretty much just started my YouTube channel. I really haven't really promoted it and put it out there really too much, and I thank you guys for having me on the show so we can get it put out there and bring some light to it. But I'm just pretty much telling my story. Everything pretty much people want to know about what happened back then, things that went on with my brother, things about people that I was around, as far as Big Y and Lil Stretch and Dog and Corrupt and Battle Cat at times, the celebrities, the people that people know about, and telling them personal things that I've experienced with them on a personal level, but not just getting in too much detail. Just telling my story and telling my brother's story, since he's not here to tell his story the way it's supposed to be told correctly. And you got all these channels telling these stories, and everybody getting it all wrong. So I'm just here to clear it all up. I was the quiet dude, but now it's kind of time for me to kind of come out there and let everybody know, what's really going on, and tell the true stories about things that happen and why things happen, and some things I don't know why certain things happen. So I just want to, get some clarity on what's going on with that, and myself as well.
I'm gonna make sure I put the link in the description to your channel, but tell everybody what the name of your channel is.
The name of my channel is Solid from Day One, and that's SOLID with the RUM for my brother, rest in peace, with the rum DAY with the number 1 on YouTube.
All right, man. Tell your story, Doc. Don't let nobody tell it for
you.
you.
Day one, Lil Leak, man. It's always a pleasure, dude.
I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, man. That's right.
All right.
Tell your story.
Thank you, man. Thank y'all again.
All right, brother. Solid from Day One. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. Peace, man.
All right, peace. All right, we got 2 good interviews.
Real West Coast hip hop right here, Alonzo.
Say what now? Don't get no realer, baby.
Man, the real West Coast hip hop right here. That's what I love about this show, man.
We get interviews that nobody else gets. And people get bigger interviews, but we get the interviews out the mud. The cats that don't get to shine, that was their day one, and folks that really made a major impact, but just kind of the sunshine just kind of hit them on the ass, not on the head. We put some light on them, baby.
That's the sunshine hit him on the ass or not. You got some sayings for your ass, bro.
Sunshine hit you on the ass, not in the head. It ain't the same, baby. It ain't the same.
What else? Any last words before we wrap it up?
Man, just look for the documentary N.W.A. Not Alonzo coming to a streaming channel near you. If you haven't seen it yet, check out Eve After Dark on YouTube, Amazon, and Tubi, y'all. That's about it right now, man. I tell you, I was getting an award at the end of this month.
You did, but
I just got one 2 weeks ago from the State Assembly, Mike Gibson. I'm getting another one from an organization called BizFed. BizFed is recognized me for my business achievements in the community, and it's pretty. I didn't know how prestigious it was until somebody, man, you getting a BizFed, a Busy Award? Yeah, I am. I didn't know it was that big of a deal, man. So shout out to me, shit.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And everybody, please, man, tell a friend about this channel. The best thing you could do is just keep telling people about the channel. This is all organic growth right here, but we have, in my opinion, the most rawest, hip hop channel when it comes to West Coast on YouTube. And I'm a big critic, and I'm not just saying that just because I'm part of it. So make sure you tell a friend about N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. Please, please, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit him with that outro, Lonzo.
All right, folks. For those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery. Stuck Ice Cube in the freezer until he got cold. On the eve after dark, 50-yard line to Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that N.W.A. stands for Not Without Alonzo. Peace, folks.